بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين المصطفى بالقاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآله وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا غريب كربلاء رزقنا الله في الدنيا زيارتكم وشفاعتكم في الدنيا والآخرة. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وقرآنه الحميد وقوله الحق أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. We're gathered here tonight to remember Sayyida Zainab al-Kubra, the daughter of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and Sayyida Fatimah al-Zahra, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhim ajma'een. As the tradition suggests that tonight, the eve of the 15th of Rajab, coincides with her shahada or her wafat. When we take a look at the life of Sayyida Zainab al-Kubra salamullahi alayha, we may be able to divide her life in 4 stages. The first stage is the stage she spent with her grandfather and her mother, salamullahi alayhima, which lasted for approximately 5 years, give or take. The second stage is the time she spent with her father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, salamullahi alayhi, after her mother and her grandfather. And that period lasted approximately 20 years. Then, the third stage is the time she spent with her brothers, Al-Imam Al-Hassan and Al-Imam Al-Hussein alayhim as-salam, after her father, after Amir al-Mu'mineen. And that period also lasted for another 20 years, approximately. 10 years with Al-Imam Al-Hassan, 10 years with Al-Imam Al-Hussein. A correction, the time she spent with her father after her mother was 30 years, not 20 years, just as a correction. So 30 years after her mother, she spent with her father, Al-Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Then after that, 20 years with Al-Imam Al-Hassan and Imam Al-Hussein. Those first 3 stages, we can consider them as the preparatory stages, preparation. They're the preparation for the fourth stage. And that is the stage after Al-Imam Al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi. Although that stage did not last for too long. According to the riwayat, she died in the year 62 after Hijrah, on the 15th of Rajab, year 62. The Battle of Karbala, in what year did it happen? 61. 61. Muharram, 61. So she lived for about 1.5 years approximately after Karbala. So that last stage was a very short, the shortest of all the three stages. Yet, it was the most critical, I would say. The most critical in the sense that this last stage demonstrated, showed us the greatness of this lady, her magnificence. We will inshallah briefly talk about the first three stages, then move on to the fourth stage. She was born in the year 6 after Hijrah. She was brought to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam and asked, what would you like to name her? He said, I would not name her before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. We'll wait for him. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi came and said, where is my daughter? So they brought him Zainab al-Kubra salamullahi alayha, and he named her Zainab. The word Zainab, some people say it consists of two words. Zain al-Ab, the beauty of the father, but was combined in one word. Zainab, to make it easy. And instead of saying Zain al-Ab, Zain al-Ab, Zain al-Ab, then they dropped the alif and made it simpler, Zainab. Others say, no, it is the name of a beautiful tree. There is some beautiful tree that has nice aroma, nice smell. That was called Zainab. And hence, she was named after her. Just for example, Yasmin is a name of a flower in Arabic. It's a flower, jasmine, the jasmine flower. But people are named after that flower. So sometimes they do name people after some beautiful plants. So that was possible. She was named Zainab. She spent from the year 6 after Hijrah until the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, and shortly after Fatima salamullahi alayha, which is the year 11 after Hijrah. So we're talking about approximately 5 years. Approximately 5 years she spent with her grandfather and her mother. During these 5 years, history unfortunately did not write much to us about what happened with regards to Zainab al-Kubra salamullahi alayha. There are very few things in here. But these few things suggest to us she was very observant, quite alert. It is said one day her father, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, took her when she was a little girl, about maybe 3-4-year-old, and told her, daughter, can you say the one, al-wahid? She said, yes, the one, al-wahid. He said, then can you say now two, ithnain? She paused for a few seconds and said, Dad, Father, the tongue with which I have just said al-wahid, referring to Allah, the one, al-wahid, I wouldn't want to say two immediately afterwards. Just as an analogy, sometimes those people who are alert, who have some understanding, some wisdom, sometimes when you read the Quran, immediately after finishing the Quran, say you just closed the Quran, you just read some verses of the Quran, you just close it. Some incident happens which irritates you, bothers you. A child, for example, bothers you. Somebody says a word which kind of makes your blood boil. You say, you know what? I'm about to say something, but I just read the Quran. Because I just read the Quran, I'm going to hold back. I just was reciting the words of Allah. I'm not going to say something right now. So sometimes a person may have such an experience. You just recited an ayah, a dua. You say, you know what? I just read these beautiful verses, these beautiful words. I don't want to contaminate, for example, my mouth. Now this is just as an analogy. There's nothing wrong with her saying two after one. But she said that now that I've said Al-Wahid, I don't want to say two immediately afterwards, because Allah is one. So Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen hugged her immediately and kissed her, salamullahi alayha. This demonstrates how sharp she was. In addition, she used to observe her mother praying the whole night in ibadah. That is something she also remembers. The whole night she would pray, remembering the neighbors. And so in the morning, she would ask, Mother, you forgot us. She would reply, Daughter, the neighbors, then the family. This also left an impact on her, that you have to take care of people. You got to look after people. And the ibadah, not to forget about your ibadah, not to forget about your worship. It's important. The third, when Fatima Zahra alayha salam delivered al-khutbah al-fadakiyya, that sermon she gave in the Prophet's masjid, apparently Zainab al-Kubra was with her, actually, although she was only about 5 years old at the time. She memorized the whole khutbah, and she became one of the narrators of the al-khutbah al-fadakiyya. So one of the people who narrated that khutbah was Zainab al-Kubra when she was only 5 years old, mashallah. She memorized that whole khutbah. And of course, when she gains and memorizes all these beautiful words and powerful words, these all will have an impact later on, as we will see in the fourth stage. So this was the stage that was very short-lived, only about 5 years that she spent with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and with her mother Fatima salamullahi alayha. At the same time, she also observed how Rasulullah treats Fatima salamullahi alayha, how he treats them, how he loves them, how he hugs them, how much love he gives them. All this love gives an impact on the child as well. That's why I say to parents sometimes, if it is possible that when you have children, to stay with them at home rather than putting them into daycares or places that will take them away from you. If it's possible, then invest time with them, spend time with them. Because there's no one that can replace the love of the mother or the love of the father. And that love will have an impact. The child feels secured with his parents. So that will have an impact on the child. That is the first stage. Then her mother dies, salamullahi alayha, and her father also dies. Her grandfather, dies. Now she observes the calamities. The minute her grandfather dies, salamullahi alayhi, sallallahu alayhi wa alih, she observes the tragedies that happened. Few days later, the attack on her house. And when they attacked her mother Fatima, salamullahi alayha, she was there to observe it. She was there to see it. It is said that when Fatima alayha salam got up after the attack, she asked Zainab, Zainab, where is your father? She said, Mother, they took him out. So then she took Hassan and Hussein with her and she left, salamullahi alayha. So Zainab alayha salam observed all these calamities, all these tragedies, all these problems. She witnessed them. And then she saw the patience of her father, Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullahi alayhi. She saw how he managed to be patient in the face of all these calamities. She sees her mother crying, saying to her grandfather's grave, that the tragedies that have been inflicted upon me, if they were to be inflicted upon day, it would turn into night. And she saw the patience of her father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, salamullahi alayhi, in dealing with the loss of his cousin and his wife, with Rasulullah and his wife, Fatima Zahra alayha salam. Now she spends the next 30 years with her father. 25 out of those 30 years, she sees how people have neglected her father. This gate to the city of knowledge, Babu Madinat al-Ilm, this alim, this knowledgeable, he was shoved aside. And instead, pushed to farming. I tell people sometimes, those of you who have read Nahjul Balagha, if you come across it, if you read it, most of Nahjul Balagha was said, or the letters that were written in it, were done during the Khilafah of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. During his Khilafah, most of it, not all of it, but most of it. So I say to people, imagine his Khilafah lasted for only 5 years and so much we gained from it. If Imam had been given the Khilafah for the whole 30 years, for example, how much we have gained? Take Nahjul Balagha, multiply it by all these X number times, 6 times. So that's what we lost. The Ummah lost when they pushed Imam Ali aside. The Ummah, people lost. You have a professor who knows how to solve some of the most complicated problems, for example, in chemistry and physics and whatever. You shove him aside, you tell him, you go do farming, we don't need you. People are at a loss. That's what we lost with the Khilafah of Amir al-Mu'mineen when they pushed him aside. She observed this. She saw this. But then she spent the time looking at the ibadah of her father, the worship of her father. She spent the time seeing how her father deals even with his enemies, people who attacked his wife. Later they come to him for advice, he gives them an honest advice. I tell people that is the true bravery of Amir al-Mu'mineen salamullahi alayhi. When you look at such people who attacked your house, were the reason in killing your wife and child, took your haqq, khilafah away from you, were the reason to deviate the ummah. Despite all this, such people, they come and ask you a question and you give them an honest advice. Honestly, brothers and sisters, if such a person comes to ask you a question, how would you respond to this person? We sometimes, a person says a word to us, one word maybe, and we don't even want to look at their faces anymore. We have sometimes husband and wife, they come for divorce. What happened? Nothing, all the issues, everything. 20 years of marriage is gone, khalas. 30 years of marriage is gone. Be patient a little bit. No, she said this, she does not respect me. He said this, he does not respect me. And the whole marriage is gone. I tell them, akhwani, just be patient a little bit. Amir al-Mu'mineen, the people who killed his wife, they come to him, he gives them an honest opinion, an honest advice. Not once, not twice, tens of times. Tens of times. That's what we should learn. The patience of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. The bravery of Ahlul Bayt. This is true bravery. Bravery is not when you can, carry 100 pounds, for example. Say, I'm brave, I'm strong. That's part of it. But true bravery is when you can display the patience. So she spent this time. And then she saw her father become the Khalifa. He moves from Medina to Kufa and she moves with him. She moves with him. In this time, during these 30 years, she gets married to her cousin Abdullah, the son of Ja'far al-Tayyar. But she puts a condition on the marriage. Says, what is it? She said, I don't want to ever be away from my brother Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein. Wherever Hussein goes, I go with him. That's my only condition. He said, done. Khalas. That's fine. He accepts. And he marries her, Abdullah, so her cousin, the son of Ja'far al-Tayyar. And from him she has 2 sons, Aun and Muhammad. Then she moves from Medina to Kufa, where Imam Ali alayhi salam becomes the Khalifa, and she observes the 3 wars that the Imam had to go through in that meantime. When she arrives in Kufa, the women of Kufa send their husbands to Imam Ali alayhi salam. They say, can you ask your daughter Zainab to teach us the Quran? He says, I'll ask her. He comes and says, would you like to teach them Quran? She says, yes, if you give me the permission, I don't mind. Khalas. So she started teaching them the Quran in her house. The women would come and they would learn the Quran in her house. One day, Imam Ali alayhi salam came in and he saw her teaching them the Quran. This is one example of the ilm of Sayyida Zainab salamullahi alayha. She never went to school. Her schooling was done through her mother, grandfather, and father, as well as the two brothers, the Ma'sumin alayhimus salam. But she started educating, teaching the people of Kufa. So she was interacting, those women of Kufa were the students of Sayyida Zainab salamullahi alayha. She was not stranger to Kufa, and we'll talk about that in the fourth stage. They knew her very well. They knew her ilm, her knowledge, her capacity. And whenever she was with Amirul Mu'mineen salamullahi alayh, Imam Ali alayhi salam would not make people even see the shadow of Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam. She would be covered head to toe, and she would always walk behind her father. The example I can give is today the wives and the daughters of our Maraja'ut Taqleed. The wives and the daughters of Maraja'ut Taqleed. When you see a Marja'ut Taqleed, his wives and daughters, you probably don't even see them. You never know where they are. And when they walk out, they're also covered head to toe. They don't talk to people. So this was the environment that she was kept in, away from mingling with strange men. She was never mingled with strange men. Only the maharim. Now, of course, during this time, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam also married Sayyida al-Baneen salamullahi alayha. He married also a couple other ladies as well. So he had children from them. Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya, for example, was born. The brothers of Al-Abbas and his brothers from Baneen salamullahi alayha were born. So during these 30 years, all these events also happened as well. So Sayyida Zainab now has other siblings from other mothers, or we call them stepmothers. And of course, Sayyida Baneen salamullahi alayha came with utmost love and compassion to the house, serving them. Now, during these 30 years, like I said, she saw how her father was so patient, how he dealt with different problems. She heard him, how he spoke, the speeches he gave, the sermons he gave. She learned. She observed all this until it was the time for Imam Ali alayhi salam to leave this world, when he was struck, salamullahi alayhi. And apparently that night he was in the house of Zainab al-Kubra, salamullahi alayha. 3 days later, he leaves this dunya. Before he leaves, one day Zainab alayha salam comes to see him, and she says, Ya Abata, father, I heard the hadith from Ayman. Ayman was a very virtuous lady, a Shia, who died apparently in the year 63 after Hijrah. And it is said that Amir al-Mu'mineen did the salat over her body, during the time of the Khilafah of the third Khalifa. Ayman heard a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih. This one hadith she also heard. It's a long hadith, but to summarize it, the hadith is about Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam being killed in Karbala and being left alone by people from his own nation. Okay. So she came and told her father, Father, this is the hadith I heard from Ayman. Is it true? Amir al-Mu'mineen cries. He's now on his deathbed. And he says, yes, my daughter, it is true. And to add to it as well, you will come back to the city again. You will be brought back to the city of Kufa. That is missing in the hadith of Ayman. That she did not tell you. But you will come back to the city and you will be alone without your brothers anymore. You'll be by yourself. So Sayyida Zainab salamullah alayha had full awareness about Ashura, what will happen on the day of Ashura, what's going to happen, what is the consequence, and what is her role. She's being prepared now. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen leaves this dunya. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam becomes the Khalifa for 6 months. She observes the betrayals, how people betray Imam al-Hassan, which then results in him giving the Khilafah to Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan as part of the treaty. He's forced into this treaty, making a treaty with Muawiyah. And then he moves back to Medina. She moves back with him and Imam al-Hussein to Medina. Stays for 10 years. Imam al-Hassan gets poisoned, salamullahi alayhi, in the year 50 after Hijrah. Then stays for another 10 years approximately with Imam al-Hussein. During these 20 years, she also observes how much plotting now Bani Umayyah are doing against her father, Imam Ali, Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein. People start cursing Amir al-Mu'mineen on their pulpits, wal-'iyadhu billah, cursing Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein on the pulpits. This was initiated by Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. So now she starts to see the propaganda war of Bani Umayyah and how they killed her brother, Imam al-Hassan. So all this now she's observing. Then comes the time when Imam al-Hussein has to leave Medina with the death of Muawiyah in the year 60 after Hijrah. Rajab, like this time. This time is when Muawiyah died. Muawiyah died in Rajab in the year 60 after Hijrah, and that's when Yazid became the Khalifa. And so it wasn't long after this. That's why on the 28th of Rajab, Imam Hussein leaves Medina, which means shortly after the Khilafah of Yazid. He did not stay much after Yazid became the Khalifa, after the death of Muawiyah. So then he leaves Medina, but he takes now the family with him. And now he is clearly declaring a revolution. His brother, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, his cousin, Abdullah ibn al-Abbas, were in Medina. They told him, Ya Aba Abdullah, if you are going to go, why do you take your family with you, the women and the children? He said, Sha'Allah an yarani qatila wa an yarahunna sabaya. That, I'm going to be killed, they'll be taken as prisoners. Now that is an answer he gave them. But what he was saying is that no, there is a mission that they have to carry. There is a mission for them. They go to Mecca, they stay for some time in Mecca from the end of Rajab approximately, or early Sha'ban, let's say, until the day of Arafah, so Dhul Hijjah. So from Sha'ban till approximately Dhul Hijjah. The 9th of Dhul Hijjah, Imam al-Hussein then leaves Mecca. He has to leave Mecca without completing his Hajj. He changed his Hajj to Umrah. And he makes a clear declaration. He says, people, I'm going to Iraq, I'm leaving, but it is as if I see my body being cut into pieces in the place known as Taf or Karbala, بين النواويس وكربلاء. Exactly, describe where, what will happen. I'm going to be killed. So if you want to join me, come and join me. But listen, I'm not going to become the Khalifa. Don't come here for materialistic gains and think that I will win and you will get some governorship here or there. You get money here or nothing. No, I'm going to be killed. So he makes the clear declaration. And that's where he tells people that people follow religion as long as it kind of suits them. The minute religion does not suit them, that's when you find people, really. You find the honest people are very few. Very few. And that's where he goes to Karbala and he gets killed, salamullahi alayhi. And that's what starts the 4th stage in the life of Sayyida Zainab alayha salam. So the first stage, 5 years with her father, with her mother and grandfather, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa for about 5 years. The second stage with her father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, for about 30 years approximately. Then 20 years, 10 years with Imam al-Hassan, 10 years with Imam al-Hussein. That's the third stage. The fourth stage is after the Shahada of Al-Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi. Now here is where we see the greatness of Sayyida Zainab salamullahi alayha. This is where we see the preparation of those, all these 55, 56 years, give or take, approximately. All those 55 years of preparation, now we see the power that comes out. Now some people say that Sayyida Zainab alayha salam in Karbala, her hijab was taken away from her head and so on and so forth. By the way, this is a misconception. That is not true. When they talk about the hijab of Sayyida Zainab salamullahi alayha, as I mentioned, a woman who never mingles with strangers. She's always raised with her brothers, with her father, surrounded by her maharim. She does not go out and mingle with strangers. Now you take such a woman and you put her now in the middle of all strangers. And what kind of strangers? People who do not have any respect to humanity, let alone religion. This kind of exposure she was not used to. This kind of exposure for Sayyida Zainab alayha salam is hatkul hijab, as they say. It's as if the hijab was taken away, but not the physical hijab. Hijab in the sense that a woman who's never been with strangers, never dealt and mingled with men, now all of a sudden is surrounded by Shimr, Umar ibn Sa'ad, Zajir, and all those enemies, wal-'iyadhu billah. Okay. That, yes, that was a complete change. Otherwise, Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, before he goes to die, before he goes to the final bid farewell, the final farewell, he told them, Allah will protect you. Allah is going to protect you. But you have a difficult journey ahead of you. There's a difficult journey. And of course, Zainab alayhi salam is prepared. She's ready. And Imam Al-Hussein tells her, Ya Zainab, you'll have to take care of the children. Ali ibn Al-Hussein, my son, is very ill. He will play a role, but you will be the one looking after the children. She said, I will take care of that responsibility. So she goes on. After the martyrdom of Imam Al-Hussein, salamullahi alayhi, she collects all the women, the children. Despite those difficult days, Imam Al-Sajjad alayhi salam says, my aunt Zainab did not miss Salatul Layl one single night throughout that whole journey. From the night my father was killed, that Ashura, at night, until we made it back all the way to Medina. Not a single night did she miss Salatul Layl, the night prayer, not her regular Salat. That she learned from her mother Fatima when she spent the whole night praying in ibadah. See the impact. 50 years later, 55 years later, that's when you see it. Then they take them to Kufa. Now a woman who has just witnessed the killing, such a brutal killing of all her brothers. Not only this, they take the heads of Imam Al-Hussein, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Her sons were killed. Awn and Muhammad were killed in the battle. Okay. And they take all their heads right in front of her. What difficult situation, but she's patient. She goes to Kufa. She delivers a very powerful sermon. She learned that from her mother Fatima, salamullahi alayha. She saw how her mother delivered that powerful sermon. She saw how her father delivers sermons. She memorized those sermons. And now it is her turn to show that knowledge. So she gives them that beautiful sermon in Kufa, where she tells them, you people of Kufa, you are known for your betrayal. In other words, look what you did to my father Imam Ali back in his days. Then what did you do to my brother Imam Al-Hassan in his days? And so on and so forth. What did you do to Muslim ibn Aqil? What did you do to Imam Al-Hussein? So you guys are known for your betrayal. This is what you are. And now you're crying because when they saw the heads of Imam Al-Hussein, those people of Kufa, the women of Kufa, they know who Zainab is. Some of them have been taught by Zainab salamullahi alayha. But now they're crying. She said, now you're crying? After now you let my brother down, you support Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Now you're crying? Yes, indeed, you're going to cry for a long time now. And then Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad also tries to insult her, salamullahi alayha, in his court, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad in Kufa. But then through listening to her sermon, with her talks, she actually managed to get some people to rise in that majlis against Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. Abdullah al-Makfuf, this man was one of the Shia of Imam Ali. He lost one of his eyes in Battle of Jamal, the other one in Siffin. So he became blind. In the middle of the majlis, he got up and he started cursing Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad and Yazid ibn Muawiyah. So they followed him home and they captured him and they brought him to the majlis. He said, you know what? After I lost my eyes, I lost my hope of shahada. But alhamdulillah, who gave me that hope back? And he was killed. Ridwanullah ta'ala alayh. In the court of Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. So people in Kufa already started to shake, to move. That's why Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad said, we cannot keep them here for too long. We have to get them out. Get them out. So immediately they were taken out. They wrote a letter to Yazid. Yazid said, bring them to Sham. And the route they took to Sham, if you take a look at the route, they went north to Mosul, the city of Mosul in Iraq, northern Iraq. Then they went all the way across to Aleppo. And instead of coming straight to Sham, for example, straight line, they went across to today what we call Lebanon. Today's Lebanon. So they went all the way there to northern Lebanon, a city called Baalbek in that region. And that's why you have, for example, those of you who have been to Aleppo, they have a place for the head of Imam Al-Hussein in Aleppo and Halab. And they say also there is one of the women who were with them, one of the women of the Imam Al-Hussein, one of the women who were with Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. Apparently one of them was pregnant. But because of all the difficulty of the journey, unfortunately the child was aborted. The child was killed. So he was killed in that region, so they named him Al-Muhsin. Imam Al-Sajjad said, I'll call him Al-Muhsin in reference to that boy who was also killed before his birth. And they buried him in that region in Halab. If you go to Halab, you'll see there is a grave for Al-Muhsin. That is Al-Muhsin. He was an unborn child. They go to to Baalbek, what is today northern Lebanon. In there is also a shrine. They say Khawla, Sayyida Khawla, the daughter of Imam Al-Hussein, died there because of the difficulty of the journey. So they went there and then they came back to Sham. So the journey Kufa, north to Iraq, then all the way across to Lebanon, what today we call Lebanon. And then they went back to Damascus. The reason they took this route, they took the safest route for them. A route in areas that they knew there were not many Shia of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. That's why they took this long journey. But it was more difficult for the family now. Children, women, they're traveling all this distance. So they come to Yazid ibn Muawiyah in Sham. And that's also a difficult time for Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim. But that's when she delivers her second powerful sermon in Sham. Where everybody is quiet, everyone is silent. She stands up and she delivers that big sermon. Not only that, she tells him, listen, don't you think that Allah, because of allowing you to kill us, that He favors you over us? Haven't you read the Quran that those who sin, disobey Allah, Allah will give them more power so that they increase in their disobedience. That's why, brothers and sisters, Imam Ali has a hadith. He says, when you see Allah is giving you and you are moving away from Him, be careful. Try to wake up and do istighfar, to move back. Otherwise, wal-'iyadu billah, Allah is giving you more and you're not waking up. So don't you think that, alhamdulillah, Allah is giving me money, a good job now, Allah must be happy with me. No problems whatsoever. A mu'min in dunya has to experience problems. Let me tell you this. Every mu'min in dunya has to have a problem. And the more your iman increases, the more the problems increase. That's what the hadith says. The more you become, and that's the best example are Ahlul Bayt. Look at how much difficulties they experienced. How many problems they faced. But when you face the problems, turn to Allah. That's one thing important. Don't give up hope from Allah's mercy. Never. Never give up hope from Allah's mercy. So that's when she delivers her second powerful sermon. And then because of that, again, Yazid got scared. Imam al-Sajjad then delivers his powerful sermon in Sham as well. He wakes people up. So Yazid got scared. He said, you know what? I can't keep them here for too long. Otherwise, the whole Sham is going to rise against me. So he sends them back. But this time, kind of now propaganda, Bani Umayyah. This time he says, guys, make sure when you take them back in the best conditions. So find the best camels, put them in a nice situation, such that people say, why do you treat them like this? So no, look at the way we're treating them. Look at the way we're treating them. The one who disrespected them was Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad, my governor. I had nothing to do with it. Put the blame on somebody else now. Blame shifting. So that was a propaganda of Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Although he himself in his poetry says, now I've taken my revenge from Badr. Now I've taken my revenge. So it's clearly that he gave the orders. He is the one who said, kill Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. He gave that order. But some historians try to give him an excuse that Yazid never gave the order. It was Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad who killed. That's complete false and fabrication. Yazid gave the orders. Look at his poetry. Look at the way that he treated the family. Anyways, he couldn't keep them. But now to propaganda, take them out in a nice way, respectful manner. So they are taken out in a respectful manner. They go to Karbala, of course, there. And then they head back to Medina. As they arrive in Medina, of course, the calamities, the tragedies. Some of the historians say that she died in Medina and was buried there. Others say, however, no. She stayed for a few months in Medina. Now she started talking to people, encouraging them against Yazid ibn Muawiyah, telling them what happened to her brother Imam Al-Hussein. So what happened? A revolution happened in Medina, led by one of the Shia called Abdullah ibn Hanbala. A revolution. Yazid's governor on Medina, a man by the name of Amr ibn Sa'id, he writes a letter to Yazid. He says, Yazid, you cannot keep Zainab here for too long. She's already making people upset with you, and they're rising against you. You need to take care of the situation. Plus, she's a woman. We can't go attack her, imprison her. So, take her out. And that's when the order comes that she must leave Medina. The question is, did she go to Sharm? Apparently, there was a book written by a alim who died in the year 277 Hijri, long time ago, 277. He died then. His book was kind of forgotten about, but it resurfaced about 40 years ago. 40 years ago, it surfaced, the book again. In that book, it says that she was taken to Egypt. Not even to Sham, to Egypt. So today there's actually a shrine of a Sayyida Zainab in Egypt. According to this book, and the ulama who now research this book, they say it is more likely that the grave in Egypt is the one of Zainab al-Kubra alayha salam. The one in Sham, they say it could be another daughter of Imam Ali alayhi salam, another daughter of his. Nonetheless, she may have been taken to Egypt, where some say she stayed for a few months in Egypt, 11 months to be more exact. How did she die? We don't know. Naturally, or maybe even poisoned. Bani Umayyah were very good in doing these things, secretly, privately. Now that she's away from Medina, it's easy to give her something, just like they gave Malik al-Ashtar. Malik al-Ashtar was given poison, and he was killed. Ridwanullah ta'ala alayh. So it's possibly that she was also given something. That history is quiet about. But that's how she left this dunya, about a year and a half after Imam Al-Hussein, salamullahi alayhi. So that 15 or 16 year and a half after Imam Al-Hussein, she spread the message of Imam Al-Hussein. From Karbala, took it to Kufa. In Kufa, she made the people feel that they need to rise. Then she came to Sham. Again, she made the people feel that they need to rise. She came back to Medina. She told people that you need to rise. And indeed, because of her powerful sermons, because of her encouragement, because of her commemoration to Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, immediately, 1 year after the martyrdom of Karbala, Abdullah ibn Hanbala rises in Medina. The next year, you have a revolution of the Tawabin, those 4,000 people who did not join Imam Al-Hussein in Karbala, and they felt so regretful. The redemptioners. So they came to the grave of Imam Al-Hussein, 4,000 sought redemption, tawbah, and rose their swords and fought, and they were killed. Then after that, you had Abdullah ibn Zubair, who would rise in Mecca, and he would take control. After that, you have Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, who rose in a revolution in Kufa. And then Zayd ibn Ali ibn al-Hussein, a revolution. Yahya, his son, and so on and so forth. Revolutions after revolutions after revolutions until the Umayyad dynasty collapsed. It did not last much longer after Imam Al-Hussein, salamullahi alayh. The whole Umayyad dynasty lasted only for 70 years. 20 years was Muawiyah, 50 years the remaining. So only 50 years. And the whole dynasty collapsed. And the spark was of Sayyida Zainab, salamullahi alayha, her talks. So you realize the empowerment. This is the lady who we should follow as our role model. But that last period, that last stage of 1.5 years was full of difficulty, full of calamity. She would cry for Imam Al-Hussein. It is narrated when Al-Hamza, the uncle of the Prophet, got killed in Uhud. Hind came and mutilated his body. Safiya, the sister of Hamza, the aunt of the Prophet, she came to see him. She said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to see my brother. Rasulullah said, wait, hold her. He took his garment, his abaya, he covered the body of Al-Hamza, because he didn't want his sister Safiya to see his body in such a state. She took his liver out, she cut his fingers off, so the body was mutilated. Rasulullah covered the body of Al-Hamza. Then he said, now bring her. So when she came, she did not even see the body of Al-Hamza, but she started crying. Aywa akha, aywa Hamzata, aywa shahida. And Rasulullah was next to her. Of course, he started crying. And he told Amir al-Mu'mineen, take your amma, take your aunt, take care of her, look after her. So Amir al-Mu'mineen, salamullah alayhi, looked after his amma, his aunt Safiya, the sister of Hamza. And he managed to take her back home respectfully, look after her, try to comfort her. I say, Ya Rasulullah, you covered the body of Hamza because you did not want his sister Safiya to see him mutilated. I wish you were there on the day of Ashura, when Zainab alayha salam came to the body of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein. But there was no one to cover the body of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi. That body which was full of arrows and spears. One of the arrows had 3 heads. It covered and pierced the heart of Abi Abdullah. Another arrow with 3 heads pierced the liver of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein. His head was put on the spears of Bani Umayyah. She comes to see the body covered in wounds, bleeding, and after all this, Umar ibn Sa'd orders 50 horsemen to ride over the body of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein. They crush his bones into pieces. Zainab alayha salam witnesses all these calamities. She comes to the body of Imam Al-Hussein and cries, Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-qurban. Oh Allah, accept the sacrifice from us. Then she goes to a nearby hill known as the hill of Zainabiyya, and she cries, Ya Jaddah, Ya Rasul Allah, Hada Husaynuka fil ara, Maslub al-imamati wal-rida. This is your beloved Hussein in Karbala under the horses of Bani Umayyah. His head is on the spears of Bani Umayyah. Then she comforts all the children, the boys, the girls, the women. She looks after everyone. She gathered them at one place. As the night comes, now that everyone is quiet, people now have drank water. She got them water. She said, Umar ibn Sa'd, now that you killed my brother Abi Abdullah, give water to these children. They're dying of thirst. So he says, take them some water. So they give them some water. Now that they are fed, they're quiet, they go to sleep. They find her rising up. Where are you going, Ya Zainab? She says, my brother Abbas never bid farewell to me. Abu al-Fadl was supposed to go to the river and come back, but he never came back. I want to go and bid my farewell to my brother Abbas. I know the enemies of Allah will not allow me to do so tomorrow. So she goes to the river of Furat, and she sees her brother Abu al-Fadl salamullahi alayh lying next to the river of Furat. Here the poets now describe to us the situation. The poets come in now. They try to describe the situation where Zainab talks to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. أخي أبا الفضل يا عباس, you promised to look after me, to take care of me. Here I am all alone. My tents are burnt. Abi Abdullah is killed. I am all alone, no help and no support. As if Abu al-Fadl replies back and says, Ya Zainab, forgive your brother Abbas. if I have my right hand and my left hand, if I was not shot with an arrow in my eye, I would have taken my sword and defended you, Ya Zainab. As if she replies, Abu al-Fadl, can I give you my hands? He says, Ya Zainab, but now I cannot defend anymore. The iron pillar came over my head, Ya Zainab. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalabin yanqalibun wal 'aqibatu lil muttaqin. Raise your hands in the dua. Very few minutes, inshallah. We'll say this dua. We are the guests of Zainab in this holy night. The dhikr of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein alayhi salam. Inshallah, this is the time when du'as are accepted, hajat are fulfilled. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف. اللهم اكشف عنا السوء يا Allah. Oh Allah, make us and our children until the day of judgment among the Shia of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, Ya Allah. And make us among the slaves and the servants of Al-Imam Al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi. Oh Allah, accept our du'as, fulfill our hajat, the hajat of all mu'mineen and mu'minat, all those who asked us to remember them in our du'as, all those who are ill, oh Allah, grant them quick recoveries, insha'Allah. Oh Allah, those who have hajat, fulfill all their needs and their hajat, Ya Allah. All those mu'mineen and mu'minat, Muslimeen and Muslimat who are suffering from persecutions, executions, lack of security, bless them with peace and security, Ya Allah. Bless and unite this world in peace and love and harmony and security, Ya Allah. اللهم رب اغفر لي ولوالدي وارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا اجزهما بالإحسان إحسانا وبالسيئات غفرانا رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج واجعلنا من شيعته وأنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين إلى قضاء الحوائج وشفاء المرضى وكشف هذه الغمة عن هذه الأمة ولتعجيل فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان. And for the arwah of all our marhumin and mu'mineen and mu'minat, especially those who requested us to remember them in our dua. رحم الله من قرأ السورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.